Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have Homicidal Lou. So, for those of you just tuning in, CreepyPasta are, well, you can just Google it, but effectively they are campfire stories that get copied and pasted across the internet. So, Homicidal Lou is a spinoff of Jeff the Killer, and is really good, actually. It is about it kind of dives in like and is narrated from the point of view of Lou writing this, and it kind of goes in like right after Jeff kills his parents and supposedly kills Lou, but then Lou wakes up in the hospital, kind of just in a semi like coherent state, but he can't speak or move or anything like that, but he can feel his body, and he's being worked on because he's like really super weak and struggling to survive because he's been butchered almost by his brother, but survived somehow. And goes into operations, is dealing with a ton of pain from that almost breaks him. And then he meets this nurse, comes to see him while he's like bedridden essentially. And she is stricken with him and wants to like care for him, kind of like...
No, I'm just wondering over your choice of words sometimes.
Yeah. And wants to take care of him and wants him to keep...
By stricken, you meant smitten.
Smitten, sorry, yes. So, eventually, Lou wakes up, and they decide that this girl, or this nurse, Susan... wants him to, like, knows that he doesn't really have much of a home left or to go back to after he recovers fully. So she offers to take him back to her place since, her parents have died in a car accident and, like, they have tons of spare room now.
Well, clearly she is a Disney princess.
Of course, yeah. So...
if it's good enough for all of them,
yeah,
good enough for Susan.
Yeah. So they go in and he fully recovers, and but he needs to go get his stuff from his old place. So they go to the crime scene and they find it a macabre scene, and it's like horrifying. But he finds all his stuff in his closet, like his MP3 player, his laptop, some clothes that aren't drenched in blood, all that kind of stuff. And he gets it all into a bag and goes over to Susan's place, and they kind of start forming like a relationship, start growing growing into a couple.
Well, that started the hospital. I
think, but I mean, like, it gets more, like, they get more serious. And he even asks her out, and they start, but he has this inner, like, urge to kill, and he struggles with it. Like, it's just such a, like, inner demon that he has the urge to kill Susan, but he, like, keeps holding it back. Because he doesn't want to kill her, because she reminds him more and more of his old family before Jeff went nuts and killed everybody. So eventually, when they're on a date one night, a man tries mugs Susan, and he goes and he like rushes and grabs him, throws him back into an alleyway, and tells Susan to go find or to run, to go away, and doesn't want to see this. Or doesn't want her to see this, and then just goes and like kills this guy repeatedly with a knife.
He kills him repeatedly.
Yeah, no, he does.
Those are the words you use?
Yeah, I'm sticking with them.
Okay. Well, he may have struck him repeatedly. Maybe even stabbed him repeatedly. I can't remember this exact scene that particularly perfectly, but...
And he stabs him repeatedly, killing him for the gall of hurting his girlfriend. So after he's done with that, he brushes off or wipes off the blood from his jacket. Luckily, it's leather, so it just comes right off. And goes into the street and sees her at a corner coffee shop and goes to her. And the manager was nice enough to bandage up the wound, and he thanks him. And he finds his calling. Like the way of like.
If I must kill, I must kill undesirables.
Yeah, I will not kill innocents. I will kill those who harm the innocent. So he becomes like Dexter or the Punisher, and goes out at night, kills
Or like Batman with murder.
Yeah, and goes out and kills like criminals and undesirables.
This is what Batman would have become if the Joker had been his brother.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right. That's actually really cool. So they go into the. He goes into he goes out, kills people, gets home, showers, cleans off his leather pants that he's gotten and his leather jacket because they're easier to clean with bleach. Or white gasoline. I just kind of figured that was bleach. We should also mention that this is also a Spanish creepypasta that somebody had the opportunity to translate very well, I might add. It's just fantastic. And he goes in, and so he does his routine, like kill somebody, cleans up, gets washed, and then goes hangs out with his girlfriend, and they start forming, they have a nice life. Unfortunately, that is all effectively kind of destroyed one night when he decides to take her to a nice special place and proposes to her, and it's all happy. But then, as they're leaving, a man approaches and shoots her, and he's filled with rage. He's like ready to snap, but he can't leave her dying there, so he rushes her to a hospital. She's in a very similar state to what he was like, so the doctor says, expect the worst. Sorry. We'll see what we can do. And she goes, they do the operation, but hey, she gets a full recovery. Oh, but before that, also, he goes out, he leaves her in the hospital, in the care of the hospital, and then butchers the man who shot her. Tracks him down and just ends him completely. Ends him within the amount of time it takes for the reader to read the sentence of killing him. So, gets back to the hospital, and the operation goes on, and it's a success. She's perfectly fine, except she doesn't quite remember him. So he spends that week taking her to the places that they met and whatnot, and she starts remembering, and eventually she gets her memory completely back, and they embrace. But then when they part, she convulses, and he has to rush her back to the hospital, and this time, unfortunately, she perishes completely. There's nothing the doctors could do, and this is the point where our would-be dark hero completely snaps and just butchers an entire hospital. Men, women, children, the sick, everyone dies, because if the world can't have Susan alive in it, then no one should be alive in the world. And so our fallen hero becomes the thing that he was hoping not to avoid, and becomes yet another line of killers along with Jeff. He carves a heart in his chest and writes Susan's initials and when they met, the date they met, and their anniversary and stuff like that, and stitches his mouth so that it looks like a perpetual smile, and then gives a final warning to anybody who's reading this that if you see him, run and don't show any sign of happiness, because he'll make it 10 times worse, and you will not be recognizable as when they find your body. And that's where it leaves off, as Homicidal Lou, the survivor of Jeff the Killer. What a great story! It was just, I loved it. This was. Yeah, it was Gary Stew as fuck, but I loved it for it. It was just so fantastic.
No, it's fine. I mean, I wouldn't give it the gleaming recommendation that you would, but you always give a gleaming recommendation, even when you shouldn't.
Yep.
But this is competent. I mean, okay, it's related to Jeff the Killer, so clearly. I don't think it should exist, because Jeff the Killer shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So let's ignore that, because obviously I have to in order to have any opinion on this. Mm-hmm. It's actually it's well done. It's crafted well. Narrative flows. It makes sense. Which I mean, bam, 20 points on top, over Jeff the Killer right away, because that one just didn't even make sense.
Yeah.
There wasn't a natural progression as to why Jeff existed. This
one has an origin story that made sense.
Exactly.
He starts off as a dark hero.
He starts off as a victim.
Yeah, as a victim, and becomes this troubled, but he's trying to do things, do good with what he's got.
I've got to draw another parallel to Batman. Like, I mean, he starts off as a victim.
And without parents.
And
with dead parents.
Okay, I wasn't going to be that ham-fisted about it. No, but he starts off as a victim, and, you know, he takes that, and he develops, and he grows, and, yeah, you know what? Maybe he's got a little touch of family crazy.
Who
sure. But he doesn't let it consume him.
Like with Jeff.
You know, like, it's there gnawing at him, but he doesn't let it sink its teeth in. It's, I mean...
I think his definitely...
You get a hint of a deeper struggle going on in Lou's psyche, like, you know, the crazy's there, and it's like...
And it wants to kill his...
And he's just like, nope, I'm gonna make you work for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, he tries to make, like, okay, if I'm going to be a monster, I'm going to be the kind of monster that other monsters tell each other about to scare the shit out of each other, because I'm going after all of the other monsters. And then, you know, one of the monsters strikes at the one place he's vulnerable, and, you know, he snaps.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah, he actually has a reason to go nuts, because the one thing that's been keeping him stable, or been kind of keeping him from going the path of Jeff, was his girlfriend, and this possibility at happiness. And when you take that away, a man breaks.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, no, I really enjoyed it for that. Like, it was a very pleasant. It was nice to see that something good came out of what happened with Jeff. In terms of a story. And they even mention actually another, they do, subtly, but they do mention while he's in the hospital, the nurse is telling him that she overheard an account of another person that got, another victim of Jeff the Killer. And actually, we haven't touched on it in any of our episodes previous, but Jane the Killer, who is actually one of the other prominent killer byproducts of Jeff the Killer story. It's another one of those side stories or spin-off stories that came from Jeff the Killer. But they mention it, like, in that one. I thought that was a nice touch for this one. Because I think this is a fairly newer spin-off. But, yeah, I just thought that was a nice touch. And I mean, okay, so... And I mean, the writing of this one had issues because it was
through Google Translate.
Yeah, That's
clearly what it is, and Google Translate sucks balls when you're trying to translate anything more than one word.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I mean, my girlfriend has one of those online stores, and she was trying to communicate with a French customer, and it was because it was short messages, it was doable, but
it was still
a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So for a full creepypasta, yeah, you know what?
There are going to be some discrepancies.
It's a little, it's a challenge to read, but it's worth the challenge. It's worth, I mean, where was it? There's one sentence. It all started in one night, the night that Jeff Woods and murderer completely freaked her parents and her beloved brother Lou Woods, when Jeff stopped being the boy who was and became a soulless monster with the pure desire to kill. I mean, there's her, brother, him.
And a lot of commas.
Well, yeah, but
yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean, there's her, brother, boy, all referring to the same person.
Yeah.
So... I mean,
are some obvious
that's Google Translate. That's not the writing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean...
Give this, if somebody
you
was
have
to
to forgive that.
Yeah. If somebody was to take this, after Google Translate, and, edit out, those obvious grammar mistakes, we'd have the full, the story itself in its original form, or for the most part, in closer form.
And it's totally... you can totally do it while reading.
Yeah, and I obviously, I skipped
If
through
someone did that, it would be nicer to read, but
yeah,
it wouldn't change the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be,
and if it did, it would be a bad thing.
Yeah, because you're not trying to, change the story, you're just trying to clean it up of the problems that the program added to it, because it was trying to translate, Spanish grammar to English grammar.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah. It's not what it was made for. So, it was pretty good. I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to say about this one.
There really isn't much. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, it was... Yeah, the... That's about it. Yeah, okay. So, I guess with that, yeah, I mean, I'd recommend this one. If somebody was to come out and have a cleaned up version of it without so many errors, I think it would be an even bigger improvement.
Preferable, but unnecessary.
Yeah, because you can just skim right over as long as you're like just kind of in the mode of like skimming past those or like just mentally correcting it, it's fine. So, Doctor, what's your opinion? What's your prognosis?
It was good.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Don't ask me questions when I've already given you the answer.
Yeah. Well, that has been our episode of Al Dente Rigamortis. If you liked what you heard, if you want to send us a comment, leave it in the comment section below, wherever this gets posted. Leave us a review on iTunes now that we're up there. That'd be awesome of you. You can send us messages on Twitter at Review Cultist and Dr. Leviathan. Or you can send us an email at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. Or you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you want us to discuss on the show. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. April Fools, everybody!
Tune in tomorrow and we'll tell you what we really thought.
Yeah. Dr. Leviathan?
I can't do it.
You can! We have to!
Can't do it.
Yes, you can.
It was shit. Everything was shit. Everything was shit. Everything was